Everything consists of combinations of the four basic elements: earth, air, fire and water, said the Greek philosopher Empedocles. Today we know that earth, air, fire and water do not constitute the smallest and most basic components. These four elements, however, still symbolize the basic, the simple and the pure. One might be tempted to say that this also applies to the Black Diamond, the new Royal Library on the waterfront in the city centre of Copenhagen. Life is born of water. Plankton became amphibians, which became mammals that crawled out of the sea and up onto dry land. From the very beginning, water has also played a key role in the building. The waterfront location in the centre of the city, close to library users and close to a number of particularly important historic buildings, turned the creation of the construction pit into a special challenge. We've created a system of lowering the groundwater level in the deepest layer of limestone. When pumping up the groundwater, it's very important to pump just the right amount. If we pump too much, we'll be in trouble with the neighbouring buildings. The brewery, the armoury, and finally the provisions depot, all 15th century buildings founded on wooden piles. And if these piles dry out, well, they'll rot. In the beginning, most of the work on the building site took place below water level. Several meters of the harbour were reclaimed. This was truly work in depth. We're down to about 4 meters or something like that. We're laying tie bars to make sure that the sheet piling at the bottom does not slide, because we're frightened that the ground might be too soft. It's like any other job. Some days are hard, others are easy. Before construction started, several years of planning went into the library. The Ministry of Culture announced an architectural competition in March. It was a double competition. One asking for a project describing the extension of the Royal Library, the other calling for an assessment of the proposed extension in the general context of an overall plan for the waterfront between the two bridges. That was the project. A unanimous committee, headed by the then Minister of Culture, Jytte Hilden, selected the proposal by architects Schmidt, Hammer and Lassen from 179 candidates. The committee found the project recommended for construction very convincing. And that's just as well coming from me, as I'm the one with the money to realize the proposal. I think it looks like a black diamond. There's a rumour going round saying that we almost gave up in the office a few days before the competition project was due, that we didn't know where we were going. and that one of us at that point slapped the black model so hard that it broke, thus producing the slanting and tilting shape of the building. That, of course, is not the true story. The true story is that we have tried to express the flexibility and dynamics of dignity of this national institution and of the cityscape with all the surrounding government institutions. Well, the Black Diamond and water. You think of the proximity of the harbour, the reflections of the water in the facades, inside the building, in the atrium, and in all the offices. On a more spiritual level, you might think of how alluring water has always been to man. Water symbolizes the liquid, the continuous. New and old, side by side. Continuity and renewal. Extension, not relocation. Earth, the second of the four elements, is often used as a symbol for what is hard, cold, and that which can carry a heavy load. The granite of the facade was quarried in Zimbabwe in Africa. The huge blocks were cut and polished in Italy. The glass of the atrium facing the waterfront and the specially designed wires and fittings that provide the great sense of lightness and transparency were produced in Germany. The steel, the beam carrying the weight of the entire structure, was constructed in Poland. This and many other of the large elements of the building had to be transported by night so as not to disrupt the traffic. Traffic was a factor that had to be considered at all times, so the link between the old and the new building is an 18-meter wide bridge crossing Christiansbrygge, the inner ring road of Copenhagen. The black diamond and earth. Well, it's the colors, the nuances expressed in the building in the exterior as well as the interior, particularly perhaps in the dark granite. It's the depth of the Queen's Hall. light, the open, the inconstant. The black cube floats over the surface of the earth, and the atrium opens outwards to the water and upwards to the sky. Light, flexible, and simple as air. All life in the building radiates from the atrium. The landing bridge, the link to the old building, providing access to centres and reading rooms, to the Queen's Hall, to the exhibitions, to the shop and restaurant. The simplicity and pureness which is seen throughout the building did not come without cost, in time or technology. The right solution is always the simple solution. Layer upon layer is never good. In order to live up to the architect's concept, we worked really hard on shapes and details in order to finally reach this minimalistic expression. None of the 4 outer walls has the same slope. Conventional building techniques were inadequate. So the library is constructed like a bridge, a suspension bridge, with the 4 concrete towers functioning as pylons that bear the weight of the entire building. The black diamond and air, well, it's first and foremost the room, the atrium, the chasm, the lightness expressed in the height of the room, the transparency. And the skylight gives light directly to the activities in the room and indirectly to all the adjoining reading rooms. As life crawled out of the oceans onto dry land, it was the mastery of fire, the all-consuming element, that transformed the ape into man. Fire is one of the book's worst enemies. Every part, every square inch of the library, therefore, is built with safety in mind. All load-bearing constructions are wrapped in rock wool, which will withstand much more than the 1000 degrees centigrade a fire can generate. Safety also means sophisticated technology, helping the security guards to protect the many irreplaceable books, manuscripts, photographs, and globes. As construction went on outside, many of the library's employees worked intensely and under very difficult conditions inside to ensure the improved and greater diversity of service that the Black Diamond can provide. The library had to reduce public services during construction and close the main building on Castle Island to the public. The Operation Clear project has processed more than 100,000 books ready for placing on the open shelves in the new reading rooms and centres. There are 10 kilometres of open shelves, room for 300,000 volumes. Others have worked on the new electronic library system Rex 2000, which was taken into use in March 1999. Still more worked on digitising collections. The image database now has more than 50,000 searchable images. Music, manuscripts and much more is now available and accessible electronically through the internet. The new building expresses the concept defined by the library at the outset of the project, a combination of culture centre and national library, an open structure in an open space. The black diamond and fire, well, it's a practical consideration. The black diamond and fire add up to safety and security. In terms of our architectural perception, fire symbolizes soul, character, heart. And this building is drawn by hand and seen by our hearts. The fertility, which is the result of cultural diversity incorporated in the new library concept, is found in the transparency throughout the building, in the numerous exhibitions in the cultural section, in the various centres and reading rooms in the library part, and in the proximity to other cultural institutions under the same roof in the adjoining building called The Fish. If we don't preserve the past for future generations to study, then quite simply we lose our consciousness, our cultural heritage and our self-knowledge, our roots. Then it could be said that we're not Danish anymore. The library's task is to preserve that which is specifically Danish and that which is of foreign origin but has been part of Denmark over the centuries. We collect and preserve the works of Hans Christian Andersen, Søren Kierkegaard, Karen Blixen and Claus Rifbjerg, to name but a few. Its materials such as research archives, book collections and photo archives. All this must be preserved safely. Nothing must perish either by use or by deterioration. The library, opened in September 1999 by Queen Margrethe, is not only a new building, but also a strong renewal of its contents, its services, and its public facilities. Fire, air, water and earth, spirit and matter, expressed and realized with the black diamond on the Copenhagen waterfront.
Copy that. KB is now complete.